Hello, YouTube. All right, so I did say that I was going to be here, whatever it is, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, but the surfing conditions were good, and I have to live my soul desire before anything else. So I went surfing, and then I rushed back here and put together something as quickly as I could. All right, so I want to talk to you just some general stuff. Maybe this is a good time for you if you have general questions, things you've been wanting to ask me. This is a good time to do it. But I want to talk to you about spirituality. And I want to talk to you about the difference between modern spirituality. You can call it New Age, but it really doesn't matter if you call it New Age, or it doesn't matter what you call it. Modern spirituality versus what I'm calling traditional spirituality. And there's a phrase that people say, and whenever they say it, I become aware that I have a different definition of spirituality than most people. So I'll hear somebody that in my limited judgment, will judge as being somebody whose life just is really chaotic and out of touch and uneducated. And they'll say this phrase, they'll go, "And I'm a very spiritual person." And then I look at their life and I go, What? Because what they mean by spiritual is that they believe in things that aren't physical. Now, it can be whatever their particular spirituality is. They happen to believe in Jesus or Allah or Buddha, or they happen to believe in spirits and angels, and they go to ghost hunting sessions, or they get rune readings, or they're a rune reader, or they're into Reiki or something like that, and they'll say, "I'm a very spiritual person." And whenever I hear that, I cringe, because I become aware that for me, spirituality really isn't about that at all. I don't consider that spiritual. For me, spirituality is being practical and being real. I actually consider myself to be a scientist. I want to understand knowledge. And if for an atheist, they don't believe that anything beyond the physical exists, so for them being spiritual is ridiculous. And I understand it, because when I hear people say, "And I'm a very spiritual person," I mean, I'd rather be an atheist than be that. Because it comes across to me as somebody who is narcissistic. They're into their own personal experience, their own feelings. They don't want to know objective reality. They want to have an experience. You see this with a lot of the neo shamans, who think that spirituality has to do with taking entheogens and tripping out. Again, to me, there's nothing spiritual about that, any more than there is in going and watching a movie, or playing video games, or doing some kind of 3D virtual reality. That's not, just because you're having an experience that's an altered one from your physical reality, that doesn't make it spiritual. Not for me, anyway. Escapism. To me, whenever something smacks of escapism, I cringe, I get upset, I don't like that. Having said that, I am somebody who identifies as a shaman, and I teach I teach all kinds of things. I teach rune divination, and I teach meditative practices and shamanic journeying, and I talk about creating new timelines and living in multiple dimensions, and I believe in spirits and beings and altered consciousness and all that stuff. But there's somebody left a comment on one of my live streams when I was probably talking about politics, and I was trying to bring some clarity to the confusion surrounding conspiracies, which I won't talk about today. And somebody wrote, how can you, and the words are really important, the words that they used, really important. How can you act so spiritual and be so blind? And the assumption in that statement was that if I were spiritual, a spiritual person, if you believe in things that are non-physical, then you have to believe in these conspiracies. So conspiracy thinking and spirituality have become the same. And to prove it, it doesn't matter where you go. You walk into the most right-wing fundamentalist Baptist church, and they will be spouting conspiracies. They will be spouting conspiracies. They'll even talk about the devil, and this is, the devil is doing this, and they'll tie it in with whatever's going on. Right now we happen to have a pandemic. We happen to have a virus that's worldwide, so they'll make it about that. Right now we have people are trying to put together a vaccine for this, so that becomes part of it. And so just if you're a born-again Christian, the narrative will be, well, Satan wants to put a mark on you, and so they have, and then they'll come talk about all these things about how, if you do this, the one world government, which is run by Satan, which is all stuff that's in the Bible, will mark you, and then they'll be able to track you, and that way the mark of the beast and the Satan, so it fits within their spiritual narrative. But if you go on the complete other side, these are people who voted for Trump and all that. You go on the complete other side, you still have the same thing. You'll have people who are vegans and they don't use money and they live off the grid, and they're they believe that global warming is a real thing. So they're politically on the other side of the spectrum, but they will still spout the same conspiracies of the government and the media and the mainstream media, and they're out to, and anytime somebody says anything, all of a sudden there's a conspiracy, and that has never happened before. Never. In my lifetime, I've never seen this, where both sides of the spectrum, in order to be, a card-carrying whatever, you have to buy into this conspiracy theory stuff. And that is spiritual. And so what ends up happening is that spiritual people end up looking like idiots, because they choose not to look, they don't trust education, they don't trust any form of mass information stream. They only trust the people that they're close to. They trust social media, and they will say, like the guy said when I was coming down on whatever conspiracy theory that of the day, the guy said, how can you act so spiritual and be so blind? So I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, because that in order to make progress in the non-physical, like in the stuff that I'm laying out here, the lightning qigong, in order to have the power to go and fight demons with your bare hands, in order to be able to shift the vibration within your body so that, if you master these techniques, you can phase out of this three-dimensional reality and go to a higher one, where you have the ability to morph reality, change timelines. In order to be able to do that, you have to be willing to be ruthless and look at the facts. You have to be willing to look at yourself ruthlessly. That is spirituality. So when somebody says to me, but I'm a very spiritual person, and my feeling from them is that they do not look at themselves, they don't take any responsibility, and they don't do self checks, and they don't do self transformation. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care if you can levitate. That to me is not spiritual. If you're full of anger and envy and fear, if your relationship to the universe is that everybody's out to get you, you're not spiritual. So it's frustrating for me. People, it's always been frustrating for me. People come onto my channel and a lot of them are looking for that. And because I talk about some things that are way out there, they think they've found that. And then they find out pretty quick that I don't buy into any of that garbage. And nowadays racism is spiritual. With QAnon, they've now taken racism and turned it into something spiritual. So somebody could say, I'm a very spiritual person, and they could be a full-on racist. So I want to get back to actual spirituality. Spirituality that has to do with self-examination, self-awareness. Because in order to have, even to be spiritual doesn't mean you do what I do. I'm a power, I'm a power junkie. Spiritual power, not psychological or personal. Spiritual power, energetic power. That's what I'm after. That's what gets me off. And so in order to gain energy, you must be willing to let go of assumptions, beliefs, thought patterns, actions, habits, lifestyle that takes up energy. And you want to get rid of as much unnecessary energy expenditure as possible, so that you'll have a lot of energy available to do, to gain your spiritual power. And so that can't happen if you're not willing to do the self-examination. So again, that's why spirituality to me is, and this is another reason why I get very impatient when people want to go off on all kinds of intellectual tangents, and I'm like, way too much thinking here. I don't care about that. Beliefs that I have, for example, as you know, I teach and believe in reincarnation, and I have some very specific beliefs about that. For instance, I believe that reincarnation has to do with your choice, that if you are born into whatever circumstance, positive or negative, that is your choice. You chose to come into that because your soul wanted to experience something, learn something, whatever it was. And that to me is really powerful, because that belief gives me the ability to have my perfect reality. Now, I can't prove to you that that's true. And it wouldn't bother me if somebody proved to me that it wasn't true. Because the only thing that matters to me is, does it make my life better? Am I happier, healthier, more prosperous, more fulfilled? And people who believe that they are a victim of karma or circumstance or God or aliens or anything else, those people are miserable and they have no power in their lives. I don't want that. So I've learned from practical observation, scientific experimentation, that if I change my assumptions and my beliefs to fit that everything is my responsibility and that I am 100% responsible for everything in my life, even if I'm in an experience that feels like I'm totally victimized by outside forces, if I adopt that, my life always gets better, and I always find a way out, and I always overcome every time. So that's why I believe that. People who believe in conspiracies, talk to what's his name, the QAnon shaman. Where did that get him? Got him in prison. His belief system, that whatever it was, you can figure that out. I can look and watch him and say that didn't work for him. So I want to know what he believes. I want to know what his actions were. As it turns out, he's a victim. He has this victim mentality. He believes that what runs the world is pedophilia, which means that he's projecting his feelings of being a child that's being abused and having energy stolen. That's why that whole thing about eating babies underneath the ground, that's what that means. It's a projection. Psychologically, people feel like infants who are being devoured. That's why the whole don't listen to the beings of light, because they want to suck all the power out of you by keeping you down here. That feeling that something is stealing your power. And maybe somebody did. Maybe your parents or somebody in your life did actually take your power away. But then instead of owning that, instead of feeling that and taking full responsibility, they project it onto the world. And it's not just God, it's this whole cabal throughout the whole world of rich people who run these pedophilia rings, and it's happening everywhere, and it's in the government, and we have to get rid of the government because the government is, and you can't prove any of it. I mean, you can find this and that, and the Weinstein guy or whoever, and those guys did that, and so that means, therefore, every rich person is a pedophile and a cannibal. That's not spirituality. Spirituality, to me, again, is finding the most practical, real path towards complete fulfillment and happiness. Happiness, joy, fulfillment. And I've found that spirituality takes work. You have to have discipline. You have to do the practices that I give you. You got to do them on a daily basis if you want to. Just like your health, you got to do it on a daily basis. All right, so I'm happy to take some questions here. I don't see this. Oh my God. Somebody just left one of the most ridiculous comments I've ever seen in my life. So while you're thinking up some questions today, I'm going to let you see that there's two things that you're going to need if you take this 90-day challenge. Actually, if you want what I was talking about. Having enough energy to be able to shift the frequency within your body so that you can actually accomplish your highest potential, and even if you want to escape this matrix, how do you do that? So the two things you're going to need are Celestial Qigong and the 90-day challenge, because that's going to get your nervous system and your body prepared for the exercises that I'm going to teach you in this 90-day challenge at Thunder Wizard, the Warrior 90-day challenge. But for those of you who don't know what Celestial Qigong is, I'm going to play that for you now. Okay? Hi, I'm Michael Denny of SpiritTao.com, and this is Celestial Neigong Part 1. Celestial Neigong means that this is power that is descending from heaven. And the idea is that we are all microcosms of the entire universe. You are the entire universe, and everything around you is simply the projection. You are looking within yourself. So when you look up into the stars at night, you're actually looking deep within your own body. When you look at the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers, you're looking within yourself. This is Negom. And so what we're doing is we're simply releasing that infinity from within us. You are tapping into and releasing the power that is within our own body, our own cells, our own organs. So one of the reasons that I'm making this DVD is in the hope that the essence and the spirit of the teaching of the Shang-Ching arts can be taught to the world at large, and it is my hope that the core essence of what the Shang-Ching tradition is will continue to live and grow and evolve. As we move on into the Aquarian age, everything is changing. I don't need to tell you that. The entire world is changing, and what we are seeing now is that if people hold on to external things, they are very challenged in life. And those who are making the transition into the next phase that we are moving into in the world as we approach 2012, those who look within and find their source of strength from within, those are the people who are getting the most out of life and will make the transition into the next phase of evolution most comfortably. It is my belief that the Shang-Ching tradition is one method whereby human beings can evolve into the next level of being in the most comfortable fashion and be able to take advantage of the rapid, energetic, mental, and... Okay, I don't know what happened there. It feels like I didn't have the volume on or something. Anyway. All right, so let's see if we have any questions here. First off, Amit's Israel. I assume that you're new to my channel. I'm really glad, obviously, from what I read, you seem to be very passionate about your, I'm assuming that's your ethnic spiritual background. And that's really great that you believe that. This probably isn't the channel for you, because I don't do that racialist thing. So if somebody came on here and said that, Norse people were the most spiritual people in the world, I would say this is the wrong channel for you. I'm of Norse ancestry. So I'm going to say the same thing to you. If you want to come on here and spout your ethnic background and put a racialist tinge to your spirituality, this isn't the place for you. So you're welcome here. I would recommend that you watch the videos that I actually have on here before you comment. Otherwise, you're going to end up looking, like exactly what you're doing, making comments without knowing what the hell we talk about here. So, you think it over, but we don't do that. This is not about ethnic superiority on any side. That's your passion. There are plenty of places for you to go. This ain't it. All right, what else? FimSample CG question. By the way, this is a question and answer. So if you have questions, you write the word question in all caps like this person did, and then ask your question and I'll answer it. If you leave a statement, just like has happened here, you're putting a target on your forehead, there's a very good chance I'm going to psychoanalyze you and or probably not give you the response you're looking for. So, FimSample CG question. When I listen to music that motivates me so much, first place that have goosebumps is right side of my body. My question is, does it have to do something with our masculine and feminine side? That sounds like a pretty reasonable determination. I don't know if it's true or not, but I would, yeah, your guess is as good as mine, but sounds like you could be right. Vincent.thunderwizard.com. So if you guys want to get a Vedic astrological reading, you can go to his website. He's one of my Vedic astrologer apprentices. He says honest feeling. So the two things that I recommend that people do on this channel is ask an honest question, which is a question that you think I have the answer to that you don't. Anything other than that's not an honest question. Or you leave an honest feeling. Why do I tell you to leave an honest feeling? Because being conscious of your feelings is the first step. If you want to take entheogens and you get honest with yourself and it's because you want to escape your reality, then you understand that your spirituality is based on escapism. And then you can examine whether or not you want to consciously take action towards that or do something else. That's just to give you an example. So Vincent's honest feeling is part of me is very resistant to the change that the 90-day challenge is bringing, as well as the change that my therapy is bringing. What do I do if I'm self-sabotaging? So if you've been following me for a while, I talk about what's called unconscious resistance. So there's conscious resistance and unconscious resistance. Excuse me. For instance, I went surfing today, even though I've made the commitment a couple weeks ago to do live streams every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. So I didn't make it today, and I even told people coming up I probably wasn't going to make it. So somebody could say, hey, Mahadeva, you were in unconscious resistance. Why didn't you make your commitment there? I'm not consciously aware of the resistance. It was a conscious choice. But for instance, falling asleep, like if you have a job interview and you fall asleep and you don't mean to and you wake up and you're late for your job interview, that's unconscious resistance. So this is one of the stereotypes of spirituality, that spirituality is going to be easy, that once you tap into truth and spirit and power, that all of your problems will go away, you'll feel this state of bliss and everything will be wonderful. But in reality, in order to change, you have to let go of things that have been serving you. So your resistance is actually a good sign, Vincent. And it's even a better sign that you have conscious awareness that you are resistant, that you don't want to follow through with the changes that are coming from doing the 90-day challenge, that you don't want to follow through with your therapy. By the way, congratulations. I don't know if I recommended that you go to therapy or not, but I mean, therapy is a great thing. I have a therapist. I've had one for 20-something years. As well as a spiritual teacher and all that other stuff. We can't do this thing alone. And you have to be willing to look at yourself. Again, this is spirituality. People use spirituality as a crutch. They use it as a way out of their feelings, the same way that people use drugs or alcohol or video games or gambling. I mean, they use them all for the same reason, to escape their uncomfortable feelings. So if you know going into it that spirituality, true spirituality, is going to create shifts and changes in you, and you're going to have to let go of things that you think have been serving you. So the things that haven't served you, the things that are taking your energy away, are things that you have on an unconscious level adopted because your unconscious felt this will protect you. And they don't. This is why we want to learn and grow. So your resistance is normal, and it's a very good sign. So the thing to do is, as they say, is to lean into it. You feel the resistance, you go, I must be on the verge of releasing some false attachment that my unconscious thinks is helping me, but it's not. That's what, when you see like werewolf movies and people changing into werewolves and you see them going through all the pain, or when the guy's turning into the Hulk, the pain that he goes through, that's because that's what it feels like when we go through the transformation to become more spiritually aware, conscious, and empowered. So, my ancestors, the Vikings, they would say, he who dies in battle goes to Valhalla. So they didn't, they weren't, to them, spirituality, the highest achievement of spirituality was Valhalla, which meant to be with the warriors of Odin, who fought against negativity and corruption and evil and stagnation, and they fought, all the trolls and the demons and the giants and all that. So you wanted to be with them, but you knew that you had to die in battle. Now, it doesn't mean literally that, you're stabbed in the neck with a sword. That's not what that means. It means that you're willing to die to yourself. You're willing to die to yourself and to the things that you are attached to. Problem, again, modern spirituality, and this started with Abrahamic spirituality. I'm sorry to my friend Amitz Israel, but if he had been on my channel, he knows I've got plenty of videos talking about how actually the Canaanites threw away their ethnic spirituality in favor of a false created spirituality that was created by the elites that were coming back from being held captive for 70 years in Babylon. They brought back with them a new spirituality, and they denied their own Canaanite heritage. And they created this whole spirituality of, they actually destroyed the Canaanites, but they themselves are the Canaanites. Hebrew is a Canaanite, the evolution of the Canaanite language. Jehovah was originally a local Canaanite deity that was turned into the state deity of Israel, and they, you can see archaeologically, you have, these are Jewish archaeologists that came up with this and said before 385 BC or whatever it was, that was the the Babylonian captivity. Before that, everybody worshipped multiple gods. They worshipped the Earth Mother and the Sky Father, and they worshipped Baal and all those other Canaanite deities. And then when these guys came back with this new thing called the Torah, they said you can't do that. They wrote 10 commandments, 3 of which said you can only worship one God. And if you don't, then you're this horrible, evil person. And with that, then of course the Romans hijacked that, and the Gnostics hijacked that, and they took the whole Jewish Messiah thing and they turned it into Jesus. And Jesus just takes away all of your problems. If you just pray to Jesus, all of your problems go away. And everything is bliss, and you don't have any problems or any issues. And modern spirituality, is a descendant of that. Even if somebody says, "Oh, I hate religion, and I believe in Shiva and the multiple gods, or I'm a pagan or whatever," they still have this belief because it's ingrained in our society. It's been ingrained in our society for 2,000 years. That spirituality is, you take, even in the movie The Matrix, you take the red pill, and I think it's the red pill. You take the red pill and you're woke, man. It's just like an instant thing. It happens to you. You believe in Jesus, it happens to you. But my ancestors, and if you look in traditional religious traditional cultures all over the world, including the Semitic, which was the Canaanite culture, was one of the Semitic cultures. Spirituality was hard work. It meant self-examination, and it meant letting go of your attachments to your limitations and dying to yourself. Jesus died for you, but Odin died to himself. Right? So there's the difference. You want somebody to do it for you? That's modern spirituality. You want to do the work yourself, then you worship the gods, or you work with Mother Nature, or whatever power you work with, to empower yourself so that you can do the work. So that means resistance. That means when you are accomplishing something, the resistance. When you go out to battle, I've said this a billion times, when you're going out to battle and you see the other guy, smashing his sword against his shield and he's foaming at the mouth and he's looking at you and he wants to kill you, You don't say to the general, I'm feeling kind of resistant about going to war right now. So I'm going to go and meditate for a while. And when I feel like it, I'll come back. I mean, he'd kill you right there on the spot because other people might hear you and might want to do the same thing. No, those who die in battle go to Valhalla. Not those who feel good about doing spiritual work, those who aren't afraid, those who aren't resistant. No, it's what you do. Those who die in battle, those who do the work go to Valhalla. Not those who, in other words, you can feel resistant. And this is good. You're waking up to, you're alive. You know what I mean? So you can take a look at if you had any fantasies about, you were going to do the 90-day challenge and it was going to make everything easier and everything would open up and there wouldn't be any problem. And you can look at that and realize that I never said that. I've never even come close to saying anything like that. Right? So good for you. Thanks for sharing that. And then he asked, is just being conscious of my resistance enough? Yeah. Again, what is enlightenment? Enlightenment is not a state of being where you have no problems and you're just in bliss. Again, you go talk to modern spirituality and they'll tell you they've reached a place of bliss and enlightenment and I don't have any problems anymore. And if you have problems, if you have fear, you must not be spiritual. You must not be doing it. No, if you're feeling bad, it means you're probably doing something right. Now, the difference is your life getting better? Because if you're doing it correctly and you're having challenges, you're having a lot of challenging feelings, but your external life is getting better. Your relationships are getting better. You're becoming more prosperous. You're becoming more healthy. It means you're alive. It means you're actually feeling your feelings instead of stuffing them down or acting out on them. So true enlightenment is having all of your thoughts, all of your feelings, all of your impulses, positive and negative, challenging, pleasant, whatever they are, and regardless of your feelings, you have the consciousness to take constructive action. That is enlightenment. It doesn't get any more evolved than that. That's it. Somebody comes to you and they do something wonderful and loving for you, great. If they feel a bunch of love when they do it, so much the better. But if they come and they do something loving for you and unselfish for you and they don't feel good about it, it doesn't matter. The action of what they do for you is what matters. Same for you. The actions that you take for people, you go, is this beneficial for everybody here? I don't want to do it, but it's good for me and them, so I'm going to do it. If you're selfish or narcissistic or immature, you'll say, I don't feel good about this, I don't want to do it, so I'm not gonna. Or I want to do this and I don't care how it, or you'll talk yourself into it. This is what's best for you. I'm going to do what's best for you right now. And you're just acting out of selfishness. That's not coming from consciousness. That's not coming from a place of enlightenment. All right, so to answer your question, yes. That's good that you're conscious of your resistance, and that's, like you said, that's enough. Just being conscious. Rune, question. I'm doing the 90-day challenge, and lately I sometimes feel stuck and really resistant to doing the exercises. So, do you see a theme here? Do you have any tips to get myself out of this state and just get up and do it? Again, what you want me to do is you want me to give you a red pill. You want me to make it easier for you because you think you have to feel good to do something. And again, those who die in battle go to Valhalla, not those who feel good go to Valhalla. Although there's nothing wrong with feeling good. Your feelings are totally irrelevant, except that you should feel them. Because the only way to know what your true unconscious intention is, the only way to really see when you're projecting onto other people and onto the world, is if you are able to feel your feelings and know what your true motivation is. Let's say, let me give you an example that has happened recently a couple of times. I meet a girl. I meet a girl who wants to date me. And I realize that they say that, look, I'm just looking for something casual, meaning I might get some action out of it. I'm not looking for a commitment, but they've got a kid. They've got a 2-year-old or a 4-year-old or something like that. They just got divorced, and they're struggling. They tell me that they're not looking for anything, but in reality, they say, and maybe I'll come down and you can meet little Jimmy or little Tammy or whatever it is. And I go, oh, so this person's looking for a daddy. They don't consciously know that. But, I've got carte blanche because they've said they're not looking for any kind of commitment. They just want to have some fun. So I could say, well, I'm in the clear. I can go and have my fun. When it gets too much, I'll leave and walk away. Except that I'm responsible. If I know that somebody's unconscious expectation is that they're going to hopefully find somebody that will become a life partner and help them raise a kid, then even if I'm given permission, I'm not allowed to do that. I know better than that. I have to be conscious of my own desires. Now, that person isn't conscious. That person, from my perspective, wants a husband or a partner who will help raise their kid. They don't even know what they want yet. And maybe they're saying what they think I want to hear because they like me because I'm a shaman or whatever. Right? So they're not conscious. I am conscious. I'm responsible for doing the thing that's not easy and, doing the thing that I don't want to do this, but when I think about it, it's better in the long run for me and for her to not engage. That you have to know what your feelings are. You have to know what it is that you want. You have to feel the resistance, so you have to feel the attraction, and you have to know what your true motivations are. And that's called becoming conscious of your unconscious. And that's what this energy work does. The reason why now I've only read 2 questions of this, got 2 people who are saying the same thing. I'm doing the 90-day challenge and I'm having some feelings. So much so that it makes me not want to do the work, because what's happening is you've got these attachments on an unconscious level that your unconscious mind said, here's how you need to survive. And here's how to avoid the uncomfortability and the pain and the loss and the dying to yourself. And now you're doing the work and all of a sudden you're becoming conscious. And so of course your unconscious says, let's stop doing this. You're rocking the boat. I don't want to die. So good. You're asking me, what can you do? What are the tips? It's called discipline. It's called commitment. That's why it's a 90-day challenge. You commit for 90 days. If you want to stop after 90 days, you can stop. But if you're only on day 30 or day 40, you made a commitment. This is why our ancestors had vows to the gods. You do a ritual and you make a commitment to the gods. And you did that because you knew that you, part way through, weren't going to want to do it. This is why people get married, by the way. Okay, ladies, if you don't know, the reason why men are afraid to get married is because men, testosterone turns men into warriors. Warriors commit to go to war. They commit to doing things they don't want to do. They might die doing it, but they get, their sense of worth out of, I'm an honorable person and I'm going to fight for my family or whatever. And marriage is the same thing. When you marry a woman, you're saying, I'm going to be there for you. And whatever happens, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be your support. And so that's why men don't want to say I love you and they don't want to commit to marriage, because they know what they're getting themselves into. Because if you'll notice, guys, if we're talking stereotypes again, the husband will go out, he has to build the fence, he has to mow the lawn, he has to do this. He doesn't do it when he feels like it. He does it because that's his job. He has to do it. That's how he shows his love. He goes and does something really difficult and hard, and he, pounds things together and does that because that's how he shows you he loves you. Doesn't mean that he was feeling loving throughout. It doesn't mean he was crying full of squishy feelings and tears while he's building the fence or whatever it is he's doing. In fact, the last thing he wants to do, he wants to sit on the couch and he wants to watch, sports. But he shows you his love by what he does, not by what he feels. Women do that as well, but women tend to, again, don't get your panties in a bunch. I'm talking generally speaking. Stereotypically, women do things because they feel strongly about it, which is why men, you have to make sure that you can connect with a woman on an emotional level, because if you don't, at some point they won't be able to tolerate that and they'll leave. So they need to have those little gestures of I love you, and giving them cards and flowers and all that wonderful, beautiful stuff. All right. So Arun says, I'm doing the 90-day challenge lately, and sometimes I feel stuck and really resistant to doing the exercises. Do you have any tips? Nope. Just do the work. Here's the thing. What both of you guys are wanting is you're wanting the payoff before the work. It's like you're saying, I want to be Mr. Olympia, and I'm thinking about going to the gym, but if you give me the muscles first, I'll go into the gym. It doesn't work that way. You have to go in the gym first, then the muscles come later. You want the benefit of the spirituality, you got to go do the work, and then the good feelings will come later. They're not going to come ahead of time. And I've seen this with the universe. This is why this is why the law of attraction doesn't work. Because the whole point of the law of attraction is, I want the good stuff to come. I don't want to do anything. I just want to feel good and have good things come to me. And that's not how the universe works. The universe has this standing order to give you the best of everything according to what you truly want. It's looking at the order. It's got to give to Joe Schmo. It's got a list of all the things that you truly want. And it's ready and waiting. But it won't know that you want it until you say you're ready, and you show you're ready by taking the action. You take the action towards becoming Mr. Olympia, then all of a sudden, and then you get a sponsor, whatever it is. You got to take the action first. So you guys are both asking me to give you a good feeling to go and do your work, and I can't do that. The good feeling is going to come after you do the work. And the bad feeling is in the beginning, because you have to die to yourself on multiple levels. So I can't help you. Other than if you do what I've done, you'll get what I have. That's it. That's the best I can help you with. The 90-day challenge is really great because I've done the work for you. All you have to do is hit play and follow along. You don't even have to think. You just got to show up and hit play and just listen to me and follow along. So that's the most I can do. I've handed everything to you. I can't do the rest. You got to do the rest. And it's okay that you have resistance. Again, it's a good sign. It means that you're accomplishing something, that you're, dying doesn't feel good. So part of you is dying. So it's okay that it doesn't feel good. Vincent is very honest, and I really acknowledge your awareness. This is it. This is the work. Becoming this ruthlessly honest with yourself. He says, part of me feels more comfortable holding on to my limitations. Yep, that's what they're there for. The very thing that people complain about. They don't have enough money, they don't have any sex, they don't have whatever it is they don't have, they complain about it. But the very thing they're complaining about is the thing that's giving them comfort. Not in a weird, unconscious way. They're obviously unhappy, but they do, like you said, taking comfort in something isn't the same as being nourished or being energized or being happy. So that consciousness, you're doing the work. Let's see what else. Okay. All right, so that's it. No more questions. I don't see any more questions. All right, so yeah, my apologies for not making it at 12:30, but I had to go surfing. I had to do it. As you know, if you want what I have, the thing that I do more than anything is the first thing I do is I follow my soul desire. Now that would be different if I had a paying client. That's different. Somebody's paid me for my time, then I have to show up no matter how good the waves are. So a lot of you guys, a lot of you guys, when you're my apprentice, trust me, there's gonna be a time when I'm thinking to myself, God, I wish I was surfing right now, but I took their money and I told them that I would be here. So that's me dying to myself. I gotta follow through with that. Let's see what else. Fim Sample CG said, I stopped Celestial Nagon because I just realized that my laziness is an unconscious resistance. What do you mean? You're not making any sense here. You said you stopped Celestial Qigong because you realized that your laziness is so what you're saying is you became consciously aware that your laziness is unconscious resistance, so you just chose to accept it, and somehow you're justifying it by saying, yeah, but I know that it's my unconscious resistance. Now that's like somebody saying, I'm addicted to shooting heroin in my neck, but and I know that I'm addicted, and I know I'm doing it because I have all of these unresolved childhood issues, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. So that makes it okay. Anyway, I mean, that just, you went on to say, I feel so lazy, but I guess I just have to die to myself. Yeah. So that's, again, the thing about the unconscious is that it's very, what's the word I want to use? It's very sneaky. So, your unconscious on one day will tell you this to try and justify whatever destructive thing you're doing. But when you become aware, that's, when I tell myself this, I'm actually sabotaging myself, and then you become aware of it, well, your unconscious mind isn't going to do the same thing the next day. It's going to find another way. So just because you say, I stopped because I realized I'm lazy, and so I just gave up because that all you've done is you've just knuckled in under. And so, but if you said, nope, next time I'm going to do it, trust me, there's going to be another reason. Your unconscious will find another reason to keep you from doing it. So you're right. You just have to do it. This is why making a vow. No matter what, you're making a commitment to do X, Y, and Z, and then you do it no matter what. All right, let's see what else. All right. Okay, so I don't see any more questions here, so I'm happy to, end it there. So as you see here, we've got all the links here. You can go to courses.thunderwizard.com, which has all my books, my DVDs, etc., all of my services, Vedic astrology, all the things you can learn, all the courses. If you want an energy transmission, you can go to the bottom one there. What is it? energyhealing.thunderwizard.com. You can go check that out. And of course, the Warrior 90-Day Challenge is the latest of what I'm teaching. We're now on level 2. We're getting ready for level 3. Level 3 is when I'm really gonna start showing you the real power. So this is why now you know why I say go at least 90 days, because now you guys are feeling, wow, there's a lot of things that are happening just on these levels. So keep doing that. And then by the time you hopefully you don't have to do it for only 90 days. You can stay at a level for longer than that if you want. The idea is to be ready emotionally, psychologically, physically, your energy, your nervous system, your meridian system, to be ready for it when we get there. And of course, subscribe, hit the bell button, and smash the like button. All right, that's it for me. I've got other things I got to do. So I'll see you guys all very soon. And again, unless the waves are good, my plan is to be here every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. But if I don't show up like I didn't today, it's because the waves were good. I try and let you guys know ahead of time, but anyway, there it is. All right, so that's it. I'll see you guys when I see ya.